Hello beautiful people, my name is Bridget and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having an awesome day wherever you are, and today's video we are going to be doing something a little summery themed. So today we are going to be ranking my summer foundations and my bronzers. So I only own 5 bronzers, so that was easy to add into this video, but I wanted to rank my favorite summer foundations. These are summer foundations for me either because they're really long wearing and I feel like it's perfect for going out, or because there's a shade that's more bronzy for me. Typically that's what it is, so this is gonna be different for everyone depending on your skin tone and stuff, but I just wanted to rank my stuff. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Okay guys, before we get started, these are my personal opinions. We disagree on anything, it's cool, it's makeup, it's not that serious. Again, I have 5 bronzers and 8 foundations. We're gonna do them in least favorite, but I still love them because they're still my collection, to the best of the best. So we'll start off with foundations. Number 8 spot for foundations for me, for summer foundations, is the Dose of Colors Meet Your Hue foundation. I bought the totally wrong shade in this and it's really, really dark. And for me, this is 107 Fair, which is the darker shade for me. The coverage is not there. It looks fine if you want a really light coverage foundation, and that is not at all what was advertised on that website for this thing at all. This was not advertised as a lightweight, minimal coverage foundation. So for me, that's that, but it's really good for mixing in some of my lighter shades to make them darker. So that's why this is the bottom of the summer list, but still in the summer favorite things, because it's just good for mixing. Or if I have a really full coverage dry foundation, that can end tan it a little bit and then make it a little more dewy. So it's helpful, but it's really lightweight coverage. Number 7 spot is another lightweight coverage foundation, but it's actually advertised as that. So this is the Laura Mercier Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation in 1CO Cameo. This shade looks really dark, right? Don't judge my hands are tan. And I've also bronzed my face a lot today, so this is my real color. It looks really tan, but this kind of adapts to your skin a little bit. It's kind of magical. It is slightly baby bit tan for me, but it looks way more tan on the sponge in the bottle, it's swatched out, but when you blend it, it really does melt into your skin and it leaves a nice, very lightweight finish without looking standoffish. So if you don't get the exact right shade of this, you're still fine, and that's something I love about this foundation. Although it is a glass bottle, it's kind of easy to break. Next up, in the number 6 spot, we have the foundation I'm wearing today. So this is the Do You foundation. It's a full coverage fresh glow. Why do I want to say flesh glow? Ugh. It's a fresh glow foundation. This is in the shade Snow. This does not come in the full range. It comes in their old shade range. So it doesn't have every single fair and light shade and then every deep shade. It has just the middle tones. But this is the one I'm wearing today. I feel like it's a good foundation. It's very satiny, not super dewy like it advertises. But if you're gonna wear it for a couple hours, run some errands, it's still gonna look good on you. After 6 or 7 hours, it does start to look a little funny, starts to break down, it starts to get into lines. But just to run some errands on an average day, this is a really nice foundation. And I just wish it came in the full shade range, but for me, Snow is a little tan, a little yellow, and it works out perfectly for this time of year where I'm more tan than I'd like to be. Coming in at the number 5 spot was actually a surprise favorite for me. So this is the Wander Beauty Nude Illusion Liquid Foundation. I got this in a BoxyCharm. So they gave you a little survey and stuff. I'm pretty sure most of us did if you have BoxyCharm, where you do a little survey and it tells you about complexion products. And I'm pleasantly surprised with this foundation. Now, Wander Beauty is the thing that's in a lot of subscription boxes all the time. It's kind of funny, people make jokes and stuff that it's not a brand unless it's in a subscription box. It doesn't stand on its own, it's just a normal brand you can buy from. It's actually a really good foundation, and I like that there's a wand in here. I love that. I love a wand applicator for foundation. It's unsanitary, yes, but it's so easy to apply. So this is actually really nice. Finish is nice. It's a little bit like a slightly more dewy version of the Pure Love Your Selfie foundation that I like so much. It's a little bit like that, just a little slightly dewier. Coming in at the number 4 spot, we have a foundation I reviewed a long time ago, and I recently got another shade of it. So I originally bought this shade, and I bought a lighter shade when it was on sale just to have, because it is a nice foundation, but this shade is too dark for me most of the year, but right now it's perfect. So this is T2N White Pearl. It's the Say What foundation from Aroma Beauty. You can buy it at Ulta, and it's really nice. Again, I'm not a fan of glass bottles. I know it feels fancy and luxurious, but I'm not really a fan of glass bottles. This foundation is really nice finish. You can see my review if you want to see a long wear test. For me, this is a medium coverage, slightly going towards the full end, if you stack it up a little bit, build it up a little bit, has a nice coverage to it. The finish is really nice. It's a very satiny formula. It's not super matte, it's not super dewy. It's somewhere in between that I think is really comfortable for a lot of people. And it's a good coverage. Now, they are expanding their concealer range, which is good because their concealers, there was no light shades in that at all. Apparently they're expanding it now, so there's more fair shades. So I'm excited about that because I love the foundation, but the concealer did not work for me. You guys can see the video of the concealer too, it's just dark. So these top three were hard to like place. So I know you're wondering like what the heck this is. This is the Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. I couldn't get any more out of the pumpy thing, so I broke open the glass and put all the contents in here. This is the Bounce in L20. It's a great summer shade for me. I only have like a baby bit amount in here. I'm gonna have to repurchase this foundation. I love it. I got it at first and I didn't really use it that much, and I kind of like neglected it, but I fell in love with it when I re-picked it up. It's such a good foundation. Like, this really is a nice long wearing foundation. This shade is a little tan, so it's great for me in the summertime. Not so much in the wintertime, it's a little dark for me, but it is a beautiful coverage foundation. It's very long wearing. It's stunning on the skin, and for me, it's like one of my favorite foundations. I love the creative packaging on it. I love that they did something super unique that no one's ever done with the packaging, but you can't get all the contents out of it. It's impossible. Even if you, like, some people told me to buy one of those little spatulas for getting stuff out. It's a really narrow opening on a glass container. You can't get all of it out. It's really annoying, but the foundation itself is beautiful. The top two are from the same brand, which is a little surprising for me, I guess. So the Stay Naked foundation is at number 2 for me, from Urban Decay. So this is the shade 20CP. I bought this last summer, and it's a good shade. Like, this definitely doesn't match my neck, which is my real color, but when I bronze and everything, like, it matches my hands and everything perfectly well. It's a really pretty foundation. This is medium coverage, I would say. It's a little dewy compared to what I would say a summer foundation should be, but it really does stay in place really well. It says Stay Naked and it stays in place, and it looks really nice on the skin. So no complaints about this whatsoever, except I really wish I had gotten a lighter shade when I first got it. Like, it matches me now, but most of the time I neglect this most of the year because it's so tan, but it's really pretty foundation. And my top summer foundation is too light for me right now, but most of the year it matches me, and it is it's so good. Like, there's 2 foundations I know will just stay on me all the time no matter what I'm doing. Like, it's gonna stay beautiful. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airless Airbrush Flawless, and then this foundation, the Urban Decay All Nighter. You guys, it's a classic. It's tried and true. This is the shade 0.5. It is really light for me right now, but it is a beautiful foundation. This is the second one I've had. I'm about a third of the way done with this one, and I love it. I will continue to buy that foundation because it stays locked down. If you have dry skin like myself, it is a little bit harder to move at the end of the day because it is a full coverage matte moment, but it looks so good. And I do not have to worry about my makeup coming off. I don't have to worry about moving around. It may get my smile lines a little bit after several hours, but you know what? It's a good, sturdy foundation, and it really does lock it down in place. All right, time for bronzers. So we only have 5. This should go pretty quickly. The 5th place for me is the Milani Silky Matte in 01 Sunlight. So this is what it looks like. It is just a little bronzer. It's very cool toned, which I appreciate because I have very cool toned skin. I do look very warm today. I think I bronzed too much because I used a tan foundation to do me. Then I used a setting powder that would tint to it, and then I bronzed on top. So it's a lot. It doesn't really match my neck right now, but we're gonna make it work. I look a little warm. But this, I keep thinking this opens because it's so thick. I thought it opened, but it definitely doesn't. But this is a really nice cool tone bronzer. I do find when I use a big powder brush, it doesn't apply evenly to my forehead very well. I feel like it doesn't apply perfectly there. I can't really tell anything wrong with the rest of my face when I apply it, so it is nice, but not my favorite finish. Like, it's very matte. Like, I know it's called Silky Matte, but I want my bronzer to be able to smooth and move. You know, my forehead's a very flat area. It should apply more evenly than that. But it's so cool tone that I keep it every time. The next one, some people consider not a bronzer. It's been in my collection since I was in high school. I think they recently discontinued this. It was on clearance everywhere, but I still find people finding it, so I don't know if it's really discontinued or just taken out of Ulta stores. But I've had this thing in my collection since high school. I've bought several of them. I probably bought like 8 of them, maybe more. But this is the Reserve Your Cabana bronzer by Wet n Wild. I don't know how I feel about Wet n Wild these days, but this is the bronzer. It's very fair, but for me it just gives a nice dusting, like a nice soft finish on the skin. It doesn't really bronze me that much, but it gives the skin a nice finish on top that I really enjoy. So I would definitely recommend this if you can find it. If you're cool with Wet n Wild. Again, I don't know how I feel about them, but I feel like there's other brands that have had that same scandal lately that haven't had as much backlash about it, so I don't know how I feel, but that bronzer is really cool. Next up, this is a little warm for me, but I really like it. So this is the Laura Mercier Soleil 1. I think that's how you say that word. And this is the bronzer. I like this because it does apply very evenly. You pick it up on a big powder brush, it's a very even coating, and it's also very buildable. It's not super, super pigmented right away, which is really scary with a lot of bronzers. So I do like this for that purpose. It is a little bit warm, but you can go really lightly, and it applies really nicely. In the number 2 spot, we have the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in Bali Sands. So, there's a lot of shades of this. There's like 5 shades of this. I like the packaging, and this is the bronzer itself. I like this because it is very satiny. It's not a super matte bronzer like we had the first bronzer, and it's not also a very glittery bronzer because I'm not really into that either. It has like mini sparkles in the pan, but it doesn't apply to the face with sparkles at all, and it's very soft. Now you can go heavy-handed with this very easily, so be careful with it. But for me, the color's nice, it does bronze, and the glitter doesn't get on your face, but it's also not matte, so it's a good even ground there. And lastly, my favorite bronzer is one very new to my collection, but I've been loving a lot. I lusted after this thing, you guys saw it, and I'm so grateful to have it. I can't even tell you. So this is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in One Fair. Look, it's huge, right? Like, let's compare it. This is the Milani one, which is the normal size. It's huge. And look at how big the pan size in here is. Now, this is an expensive bronzer, but it's beautiful. Like, this is a very fair color, so you might think it's not really gonna bronze that much, but for someone like me, it gives such a nice, slightly bronzed finish to the skin. I can go in here heavy-handed with the brush, and it's still gonna apply really evenly and not super, super patchy. I just find it's a really beautiful thing. I would even say that if you, it's kind of a bold statement, I would even say if you didn't have any setting powder, you could probably use this as a pressed foundation if you wanted to, because it has a nice pigment to it, but it's not overwhelming. So this is beautiful. And I like that it's like a magnetic closure. Something about magnetic closures gets to me and makes me feel how fancy it is. This is so nice. It's really big, but considering I don't have many bronzers and I find one I really like, it's super cool. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I would love to know your go-to summer foundation in the comment section down below. If you did enjoy the video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great and safe day wherever you are. Bye.